bit of these working man blues.
You've tuned in to 96.7 on your FM dial, www.cklu.ca. It's 6 o'clock, and you're listening to Eat This, Drink That, a program about food, drink, and quality of life. This episode, maybe a little different. It's where you put your lunch, how you bring it to work, but it doesn't just have to be about lunch. I mean, these boxes that I'm looking at can do all kinds of the functions that they can have. I've been surprised. We are at a place here in Sudbury. In fact, the storefront that actually faces Kelly Lake Road. It's the most visible one on the whole street, definitely. What's it called, actually? This is Willie White over here. Tell us about it, Willie.
The store itself is called Manufactory, and the website is manufactory.ca.
Right, but we knew it as the Miners Lunchbox?
Correct.
Is that how we...
Correct. We had a bit of an image identity crisis. We do manufacture Elme.
Other things.
So we are the owners of Elme Metal Fabricators, Metal Miners, World Famous Lunchboxes.
World famous, like, because of the longevity of these things, the robustness of them?
They've lasted workers for in excess of 30 to 50 years, we've heard.
So these things are tough, like miners have to be.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Tough and rumble. Rumble and grumble and tough, whatever you want to call them.
But these
they
have
come with a
evolved.
lifetime warranty.
They do?
Yeah.
Not us, unfortunately.
Yeah. How many products today will carry a lifetime warranty on it?
Well, there's limited moving parts on these things, but there's the handle that moves.
A handle, a couple of hinges, and a couple of latches, and through the
But
year...
these things they don't break down.
You know, there's 2 million of them in the marketplace. So since...
2 million?
Yeah.
All out of Sudbury?
All out of Sudbury, yeah. When Leo started the company in 1956, he cut the first one at his kitchen table with a set of pliers. Tin snips. Yeah, and he riveted together with a hand riveter, and he brought it to work. There's stories all over the internet. There's videos on our website, lunchbox.ca. You can learn the history of the company. But since that day, there have been over 2 million boxes sold, and we might get 4 or 5 back a year where we've got to put a new set of hinges on them, maybe a new handle.
And you're actually delighted to do this.
We're delighted to do it, and I think we blow people's minds when they bring or they call and they say, hey, you know, apparently you guys have a lifetime warranty. I kind of doubt it.
We honor it.
We honor it. Give me your lunch pail. I'll leave it here for a day or two. We'll put some new hinges and handles and whatever else it needs. We'll tighten it up a little bit.
And
give
worse
it back
comes
to
to
you.
worse, it gets run over by something. And
we can't cover that kind of warranty. But I'll be honest with you. About 3 times a week, somebody comes in looking for a new lunch pail because somebody run theirs over. Yeah.
With a scoop or something.
Something, yeah. You never know. Sometimes they just throw them down a shaft and game's underground. You never know what happens.
These are called lunchboxes.
Lunchboxes.
But they're often for, especially miners doing shift work, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or snack, and look at I'm talking. Some of these boys, these are big boys.
Yeah.
If I had that much lunch, that's enough for a day in there.
You got to think that these guys are going underground, and you know what? We're talking about miners, but this has crossed over to construction. This has crossed over to. There are people in New York City that walk around with fancy colored ones when they go to lunch.
Yeah,
you name it. There isn't many places in the world where this hasn't filtered into. But for the most part, when we talk about a guy going to lunch or going to work, usually he's 12 hours a day, especially an underground guy.
Yep.
He doesn't just have his lunch in there. He's got some medication in there, maybe if he's, for a headache, or maybe he's got a fork and a knife in there.
A thermos.
But
or two.
But he's also got a small first aid kit in there. He's got a salt and pepper kit in there.
He's probably got his NORCAT cards.
His NORCAT cards and his safety guides. It's a place where they put their safety glasses and, extra hearing protection. It really is their lifeline.
And if you need to, you can sit on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what made them famous.
But
I think
this is almost like a grab and go box as well.
Yeah.
I've actually seen people use this for documents.
Yeah.
If you have a house fire, all your stuff is in here. I know this is not fireproof, but this would protect things, and you'd know where it is. Because you could have it in all different colors, couldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. You could get these made in any different color. You can have it in the original classic aluminum. You can have it in fire engine reds, pinks, safety green, yellow, orange, pewters, blues. We got purples. We got all kinds of stuff.
Some of them are sort of textured as well.
Yeah. So
what's that?
Well, it's called a hammer tone, and the product itself is actually, it looks a lot like a bed liner, but
Yes,
it's shiny.
Yeah.
And It's just a bit more robust than standard powder coat in the sense that it doesn't show scratches as much.
I love that.
Yeah.
Whatever the silverish one is.
Yeah, we call it a pewter. Yeah.
And you've also got some that are two-toned. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you've got some with leather handles and...
Well, yeah, we just came out with a line...
A series of, like, nostalgic pieces, or what, I don't know what to call them, limited edition?
Well, that's exactly what they are. What's happened in the last 2.5 years since we've purchased the company, we get probably messaged twice a week, do you have any of these that are serial numbered? Or and if you look around on Amazon, you can actually see people trying to sell some of these older boxes, and they're only making, they're selling them for 30, 40, 50. What's happened now with 2 million boxes out there, we actually have a global presence. We just started putting serial numbers on a limited edition series of boxes.
So not every box has one of these stamps.
Right. So where that derived from is we actually have return customers every year. When we come out with a new color, a new size, something different, they order
want it.
And then they send us a picture of a shelf with 5 or 6 lunch pails on it, or 10 lunch pails, or they go yard sailing all summer and they find lunch pails and they buy them, and they're using them for everything from fishing tackle to toolboxes, and they take pictures of this stuff and they send it back to us.
I have seen these used for cremation ashes. Dad worked underground all his life.
Yeah.
Here's a lunchbox, and here's Dad inside the lunchbox.
Yeah.
Sounds a little strange, but I can see the connection. I draw that understanding of why that would work for him.
Well, if you want a story on that, I could tell you. It was pretty early into us purchasing the company. I had 2 teenage daughters at the time. They're now 20 years old, but at the time they'd asked, Dad, what are you doing? You bought a lunch pail company? Come on, what is that? But, at 17, 16, 18 years old, they don't know what the history is on this stuff. And we were sitting around the kitchen island one day, and my wife was making dinner for us, and we were joking around, and the phone rang. It was a Sunday. I wasn't going to answer a business call, and I'm really glad I did that day. There was a woman calling. She called in from New Brunswick, and I hope one day if she hears this, she's welcome to give us a call, and she always said we could share her story. And she's not the only one that's called, but this is the one I can share. It impacted me the most. She called. She was crying that day. She could barely contain herself when she was talking on the speakerphone. My daughters and my wife stopped everything that they were doing, and they were watching and wondering what this woman was trying to tell me.
Yes.
What she got across to me after a few minutes of her composing herself was that she was in New Brunswick, but her grandfather lived in Elliott Lake, and he had just passed away the day before. What she actually remembered, and she said the whole family remembers this, all the kids, was the sound of his handles and his
in the morning as he left.
6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning when he'd get up, he'd pack his lunch. She could hear the clips on the lunch pail.
Denison mine somewhere.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you which mine he was at, but she said we love that sound, and that's what we remember him most for. We'd like the shiniest classic lunch pail that you've got
to put beside his casket.
No, they wanted it on the mantle with his ashes in it. And I got to be honest with you, we get a phone call like that once a month.
I have a feeling that after this broadcast, you might get more phone calls.
It wouldn't surprise me, but that was the moment where
your daughters went, oh gosh, this is bigger than lunchboxes.
I get it. Yeah, where they said they get it, but it actually became a deeper impact for me.
Social
I got it
responsibility.
That's where exactly. That's what ended up happening. It wasn't just something cool that I'd bought and I was having fun with anymore.
You're carrying a tradition, a legacy.
I'm carrying more on my shoulders now than I thought I was carrying from that phone call.
Well, it can only get more and more that way, can't it? Because you're impacting... We don't need to talk about sales numbers and things like that, except you can do the math. 2 million boxes since 19-something. You can figure out how many per year.
Yep.
But you've now amplified everything. You're actually physically going and reaching out to clients and customers, and you personally have this network of people that you've worked with in the mining industry.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate.
And again, we say mining, but there's lots of other applications.
It's beyond, and I'll reiterate that it's beyond mining. It's crossed over to multiple.
I've seen
industries.
Paramedics with these.
Paramedics. What surprised me the most, I think, was this Christmas, and I think this is where you're going with it. We have a couple of cycles through the year. We know that
the peaks.
Springtime, we know companies are getting ready for shutdown right across the country, around the world. Actually, mines shut down, get ready, and contractors get hired and brought in We can tell you where every mine in the world is just about to have a shutdown because orders will spike at certain times of the year from certain regions in the world. Social media is something that this company never had before.
Right. And
where we're gaining a huge amount of traction is in the gift industry.
Are we talking Christmas now?
Birthdays.
Birthdays,
Father's Days, retirement, Christmas, Valentine's Day. There isn't
nothing says love you like a lunchbox, right?
Well, when a wife walks in and she takes the time to decide and pick one for her husband and turn it into a gift basket.
Yes.
Yeah, and put a bottle of wine in it and maybe something else, some unmentionables in it. You never know. There's a lot of thought that goes into it.
I do see some gift boxes over here. I had never thought about that as being a venue for. So the box becomes more than the gift; it becomes the carrier of content.
Yeah, well, and this isn't to knock any other gift basket out there. A gift basket is a beautiful idea.
But what do you do with it afterwards?
Once you've eaten everything in the basket,
you've got a basket.
I'm a guy. I give my wife the basket. I don't know what happens to the basket after that.
They get stored.
But we have corporations that call, and they're ordering these lunchboxes so they can put a bottle of wine in it at Christmas, or for a retirement, or for a birthday,
or new investors,
And we have a law firm here in Canada, and I'm not going to say where it's from. They surprised us in November when they called, and they said, we want almost 100 of these. And I said, but you're a law firm. What are you doing? Like, how do you get what I know?
Oh no!
Like,
how do you ask that question? You say,
"Well, I was curious. What? What?" She said, "Well, I saw it on social media," and I said, "Okay, great." And she said, "But we specialize in construction." So all of her clients are construction companies. So what better gift than to give a lunch pail with some goodies in it,
better than a pen set or anything,
with a
like
logo on it of their, maybe a sticker of their law firm, and they wanted them powder coated, and they gave them out to all the owners of every company that they do business with. It was an incredible gesture, and more of that is happening, where we're getting those large orders from even large mines for retirement parties. And
well, wouldn't you, if you're going to you start up a new mine, and you want everybody who comes on board to memorialize that moment, the first day of operation, everybody gets a lunchbox. Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. The reach of it has become mind-blowing, where people want these things for gifts, right?
Do kids want these?
You know what? When I was in primary school, between the ages of 5 and 6, my father bought me one. He bought me a little 8-inch lunchbox because I wanted to be like him.
Yes.
I carried that throughout primary. I was too cool to carry that in high school.
But you could do the
But
pink
in
one
primary,
now.
we beat the snot out of each other with them. We threw them. We did everything with them, and they lasted. But it's coming back where there are schools that are contacting us now and saying, what are the prices? Can we market these in our school? And, families are calling and they say, you know what, I'm tired of buying a little plastic lunch pail or a little tin lunch pail with a superhero. Yeah, I didn't want to get into branding, but with a superhero on it, and it only lasts for 3 months because they've thrown it, tossed it, played curling with it, did whatever they did with it. And they're starting to buy these for their kids in different colors and different variations, and then the kid could take it and personalize it, put Nintendo stickers on it, or what.
You could.
I don't know. I'm getting old now. Nintendo. I don't even know what's out there anymore. PlayStation games, or
I was going to say about superheroes. You could put your dad on this. He's been in mining for how long?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a superhero for sure. You talked about Superman. Well, you know what? Why not put a superhero on a box that'll last
forever,
for 50 years?
Yes.
Right.
But can you put safety decals on these things? Do people do that?
Yeah.
They still give those out? I don't even remember. Like accident-free,
union stickers. Some stickers go on here that are reflective because certain mines require that they're reflective.
Right.
Certain sites require that they have a 3-point harness on them, or that they be a 3-point carry, so we have to put a harness on them. It's unreal, the growth that this has gone through.
It really takes somebody new like yourself to take maybe a company that was doing the right thing to the next level.
It was just different, just a different set of eyes.
Yes.
Maybe a different generation. And I embraced social media. And when we take a picture of something in it, we posted just on LinkedIn the other day about those the limited edition.
I liked
within
it.
24 hours, there was something like 5,800 views on it.
I think I hit it at 64.
Like how you couldn't have done that. How he sold 2 million boxes, how Leo sold 2 million boxes
is a tribute to the lunchbox itself, too. But
a tribute to Leo, really.
Yes.
For being able to build a business the way he did with virtually no ability to communicate other than a local newspaper advertise what
word
you
of
had.
mouth is the strongest
and it
way.
became word of mouth. So if you think he sold 2 million,
So the program is about quality of life. This is quality product.
yeah.
This is not something that I can see you handing this down as well. Giving this as a since we used the word legacy before. In my will, I bequeath my lunchbox to my. Really,
It happens. And we hear these stories, so we don't know how true they are, but right up there is the lunch pail my grandfather carried, right at the end over there. He got it
the one with the
right at the end. See the old stickers on it?
Yeah.
That one he purchased in 1958.
So he's
He
an early
carried it-
adopter.
He carried it for 30 years. Then my uncle carried it for 20 years. When they found out about the company, they called me, and you wouldn't believe how much it meant for him to call me and say, look, I got a gift coming up to you through FedEx. And when it got here, it was overwhelming.
If we had to do a museum of things made in Sudbury, this would be it. If we ever have a proper mining museum, these should be artifacts.
I think our city is missing a proper mine museum. We have great support from Big Nickel. We have great support from Science North, and there are exhibits in these places. But I think a proper mine museum like they have in Germany, like they have in Australia, they actually call us to sponsor spots in their mines around the world. And when I say sponsor, can you just donate a few lunch pails? We have some old ones that people hand over sometimes, and we send them a couple of old ones. And then we send them a couple of new ones. So
I think people would be delighted to know that their lunchbox is going somewhere that's going to influence and say something about Canada as well.
They tell us, do what you think is right with this. We always wanted to have a storefront since we've purchased the company where customers could come in and see a top shelf full of...
could see that whole wall being,
used.
display
of history.
Wow.
Every sticker, every ding, every dent...
Tells a story.
Tells a story that means something to these guys. When their lunch pail is crushed, they're beside themselves. It's
You could have a whole display of lunchboxes that didn't survive.
We've actually had wives come in, purchase my husband's lunchbox. I can't clean it anymore. He's only got 5 years left to go before he retires. I'm getting him a new one. Darn it, I'm tired of cleaning the old one. Well, a week later, she'll come back and she'll say, listen, we didn't use it. Can I return it? He doesn't want the new one. He doesn't want the new one. And I don't blame him, and I'm shocked. And I should be warning her before she leaves, and we've learned that we need to start telling them that. Like, don't mess if it's still functional, don't mess with the old one, because
there's a lucky coin kind of, or lucky rabbit's foot kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to jinx it, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but you're on a 12-hour shift, and all of a sudden your cage is going to be 8 hours late.
Right.
For whatever reason. It doesn't mean that there's an emergency.
No.
It's you and your lunchbox. It's you and...
Well, that's your connection to home.
It's your connection to home. It's everything you think of. And heaven forbid, if there is an emergency, you've got a little piece of home with you. There's no better way to identify a lunchbox than by having it remain original. So if somebody ever came across a lunch pail somewhere, they know whose it is.
Do you find that as people are downsizing, as people enter their senior years or further, that there is a death in the family, that sometimes these lunchboxes, is that the route that is leading to some of these, the return of some of these lunchboxes to you? Well, hard to say, right?
It's hard to say. Some of these guys just retire and they call us and say, I just retired yesterday and I wanted to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So we'll send it to a museum.
It's a symbolic thing.
Yeah, do something with it. I don't want it here. I don't want a reminder of it, but do something with it. We know you guys will do the right thing with it, and we try to. And we have collected a bunch here that will go on a shelf. But I think we're finding some of the individuals that are retiring now, and we talked about cremation, and we talked about these boxes. People are tired of spending money. We just went through a massive generation of the biggest spending in the history of the world, and it's baby boomer spending money. They're done spending money. They're tired of spending money. Yes. They don't want to spend money anymore.
Well, that's why they want to buy quality.
And they want to buy quality, but not just that. They've thought beyond that. And why am I spending so much when I'm not going to be here anymore? Right? So the idea of those phone calls happening and coming into us more and more about these boxes being made into cremation boxes, or lack of a better term, what is the term for an urn?
Urn?
They'll call it an urn. That's becoming more and more popular. You can really personalize these.
Let's talk about prices, since you've
Sure.
kind of started to touch on
Sure.
the monetary nature of this thing, because there is, for you, some profit in this.
Sure.
There is, of course, it is growing. You employ, it's family now,
It's
right?
family, yeah. It's myself, my wife, our daughters, when they have the opportunity to come in. They're both in college and university. It's easier for us to arrange their hours for them than it is for them to try to get hours arranged for themselves at a company or a location here in town that doesn't maybe understand what their school schedule is. And while my father's in, and every once in a while I'll call my brother in, and
Yes.
I have something really technical on the CNC side. I'll call in a licensed millwright, or
Sure,
a
of
machinist.
course.
Yeah,
But also even just the packaging and then shipping of these things, it doesn't happen by itself, does
it
it?
doesn't. It's quite a process.
And so, of course, there'd be volume. If there's volume to,
Sure.
that's a different price. But if
Sure.
I wanted to buy this one right here, which is
You're
is
looking
that
at a 12-inch powder-coated box. That one happens to be green. If I had to put a fathom guess on that price, my wife knows the prices, and they're always in a computer. There's certain things that you just don't need to remember in life. But I think this one here, you're probably $99.
So $100.
$100. You're in the construction industry. You don't need to carry a big lunch. It'll fit a 12-inch sub. It'll fit 3 or 4 12-inch subs, actually, and a bottle of Gatorade. You're on your way for the day.
Now, if I do the math, I'm going to work in an industry for 33 years. That's essentially $3 a year to have a quality lunchbox
Right.
that will last my whole king.
Well, what happens is we've got guys that walk in here and they're spending $30 to $60
That's like
every.
less than a penny a day.
They're spending $30 to $60 every quarter. They walk in with this beat up old insulated bag, thermal bag, and they're saying, I like that it keeps my lunch cool, but at $120 every year that I got to buy 3 or 4 of these, I'm done.
Right.
I'll deal with my sandwich not being necessarily frozen by the time I.
No, these ones come in. This is the standard aluminum.
So that's
this
classic
is a big
aluminum.
boy.
That's a big boy. That's called Big Daddy. It's 6.5 inches wide. Yeah, they've got names. Yeah. Yeah, and that was Catherine. That was Leo's daughter that did that after she took over the company. She started to name some of these
not
boxes.
just because there wasn't just they're just one size at the beginning.
Yeah, well, when he started doing, he was doing an 8-inch classic.
Yes,
and then they moved up to a 14-inch classic. And I think when Catherine took over, she brought up she started a super classic, which was just an inch wider, but the same length as the longest one that they had. And then she brought in the Big Daddy, and she's the one that introduced the colors. She did have a ton of foresight as to where this company should go. I think she was just limited as to what reach she could do on her own, because she really was a one-woman operation trying to build this business, trying to grow it, trying to get word of mouth. And she was on Dragon's Den with it. So kudos to her. I know she had an incredible spike of business after that.
Definitely.
Yep.
Now, you built some monster-sized ones, or there were.
Yeah.
Like, what's that called?
Well, they were called the Boss. We actually had to discontinue them for a while. You could sit on all of these boxes,
But that one would.
It was so big, and the gauge of this material, if we go too thick, it becomes too heavy to carry around on a daily basis. But I'm a 240-pound guy, and when I sit on it,
I think together the two of us make 500 pounds.
Yeah. So you know what? It wasn't as durable as the rest of these boxes, even though it was the same material. It's been the same material since 1956. That box was just too big. Yeah.
Now, you're still building these on machines that date back to that time.
Yeah.
But you're transitioning.
Yeah. So
like the riveters go back to the 50s, right?
The riveters are early 60s. The press that we have, the press itself is late 50s.
So it's not just heritage boxes; it's heritage.
Oh, I got everything heritage from this.
What
company.
year were you born?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 1963 or whatever, wasn't it?
For me?
Yeah.
No, 71.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah,
Aged you too much.
I'm just a pup.
I thought we were contemporaries.
I'm just a pup.
I was going to say 59, but
No, thank God. I'm 47.
yes.
Yeah, so I bought some heritage equipment. And when
Because these were the original pieces that were used to make the boxes, right?
These were, well, he modernized. When he modernized into this equipment. So when he did this, he modernized maybe early 70s, and this was modern equipment at that time. Even though it was 20-year-old equipment, it was modern equipment. But the die heads, the presses, the tool, all of that stuff costs a lot of money to maintain.
And skill and personnel to operate.
Skill and personnel to operate it, and we are operating. We are making it work. We've been making it work for 2 years, so we know.
But now there's time to rethink some of it.
It's time to automate some of the process, and when I say automate, I don't want anybody to be scared and think that this is going to go outside of Sudbury.
No.
That's not the case.
You want to keep work here. You want to grow this.
I actually want to grow it and have some extra employees in here. Absolutely.
So employing Sudbury people to make Sudbury products.
Some specialized individuals. People to run our Sudbury CNC mills so that those mills can continue to maintain any equipment that we have here and supply customers with product and services. But we'd like to purchase our own laser table here in the next year, I'd like to say. And with a laser table here, set us apart with our plasma table that we have now.
And that doesn't just mean lunchboxes. You can make all kinds of things.
We're really not limited to anything at that point in the world of what we can manufacture, but it raises the quality and the tolerances in the manufacturing process of these boxes so we can assure that these continue to have another 20, 30, 40 years of longevity if we can learn how to streamline that process.
So perhaps by going with new equipment, these boxes will last longer?
No, I can't say that they would last
know.
longer, but the assembly process, the downstream cost to us to build these boxes is very expensive.
Yes. Because they're basically hand.
Every inch of this box,
like you just don't make the metal.
No.
But everything else is assembled by you.
Every inch of this box is assembled. So it's cut here, it is polished here, it is bent here, it is riveted here, it is powder coated right here in house. So if the tolerances on this old equipment are starting to get a little sloppy, it makes the riveter's job
harder.
Or the person that takes this equipment or this material and has to polish it, or they have to, clean the edges of the material because it's starting to get rough on the press heads.
But you have no trouble selling this stuff.
Oh,
no. It's so
this stuff
sells itself.
The
Right?
lunchboxes sell itself. And the equipment that's here should be part of a museum. Like when we're done with this, no, seriously, we talked about a museum. The equipment that's here,
why not?
There should be 10 lunch pails piled up on this equipment, and there should be a story, and it should be in a window somewhere in a museum. This is how these lunch pails were made. It went from hand cutting to this automated process, and now if you want to see they're still making them over on Kelly Lake Road, but it's a little tighter now. It's a little better.
Remind us again, where are we?
We're at 1305 Kelly Lake Road. We're in Unit 3.
Easy to find.
Easy to find. Echo Rental is kitty corner to us. Our great new neighbors, we fell in love with them. It's Crosscut Distillery next door. And across the street, we have
Stack Brewing.
Stack Brewing. So this has actually become a bit of an industrial, social...
Got it.
It's like a distillery district in Toronto. We need a few more breweries in the area, but it's become a very hip area.
Definitely. Best way to reach you?
Best way to reach us, telephone number 705-920-5879, or our website. You can either go to lunchbox.ca or manufactory.ca.
Or just Google Sudbury Lunchbox.
Just Google Lunchbox and you'll find LMA.
Definitely.
Yeah. Our Google crawl is incredible. There's no competition. We own the patent on it. So
thank you, Willie White. What a pleasure to talk to you today here, and to have in my hands and in my eyes all these colors of the spectrum of colors of lunchboxes with the history that goes along with it. You've been listening to 96.7 on your FM dial. This is Hugh, and join us again this Thursday. Well, you've just done it every Thursday at 96.7 on your FM dial. Bye for now, folks.